We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna...
What's going on, guys? It's Steve. So, some pretty big news. You know how we all thought that it was either... Well, I knew it wasn't going to be Russell Westbrook just because I knew the Thunder wouldn't have had, a good enough record because historically, I think Michael Jordan's the last person to win MVP without being a top 2 seed in their conference. However, we all thought, for the majority of the people thought it was going to be either Russell Westbrook or James Harden to win MVP. Now, I came into the season saying Melo might have an MVP year. LeBron's going to be doing his thing. What's his name? DeMar DeRozan possibly is going to do his thing. I said a lot of players like Harden, Russ, even though I didn't really think about Russ because, his team isn't doing that well. But when you look at it, there's someone that's very surprising that's going to win MVP that I myself came out and said he's probably not. And that person is Kevin Durant. Now, as much as everyone loves to hate on Kevin Durant, even though he's getting a few passes, which is weird, from the media, probably because he plays with Stephen Curry. A lot of people are just forgetting about Kevin Durant and what he's doing this year. But if you go to Basketball Reference and you go to their 2016-17 NBA Most Valuable Player Award tracker, you see that there are only 2 players with above 10% probability of winning the MVP. And both of those players are in the 30%, which means there is a 60, it's really 34.5 and 32.3. So really, there's around a 60-point gap, which is ridiculous. Really around 55. That's crazy. 45. There's a big gap between these 2 players and everyone else. So I'm going to go from 1 through 10, the top 10 candidates right now. James Harden is number 1 at 34.5%. Kevin Durant's number 2 at 32.3%. LeBron is 3 at 6%. Steph Curry is 4 at 6%. Russ is 5 at 6%. Kawhi is 6 at 6%. Chris Paul is 7 at 3%. Isaiah Thomas is 8 at 2.4%. Kyle Lowry is 9 at 2%. And Jimmy Butler's at 1%, which is really surprising since the Chicago Bulls are negative. Now, James Harden and Kevin Durant. Now, why do I think Kevin Durant is going to win the Most Valuable Player award? If you look at what he's doing, he can also be argued as possibly, just like Stephen Curry could have last year, the most improved player. Because if you look at Kevin Durant's confidence, if you look at his defensive ability, his playmaking ability, his passing ability, his IQ, his awareness, his efficiency, all of that is at an all-time high. He's the best defender he's ever been. He's an elite defender now. He's the best shooter he's ever been. He's the best scorer he's ever been. He's efficient as hell. He can pass more than ever. He's a better playmaker. He can literally do every single damn thing on the floor for the Golden State Warriors. And when you look at his stats, his points per game went down, but everything skyrocketed. 26 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Get this, only 2 turnovers compared to James Harden's 6 turnovers. Get this, Kevin Durant is only playing 34 minutes per game, and he's only taking 17 shots per game for 26 points per game, shooting 55% from the field, which is absolutely out of this world. LeBron James is shooting 52%, so that says a lot about Kevin Durant. He's shooting a higher percentage than LeBron James, which is very, very extraordinary. Kevin Durant from 3 is shooting 39%, and from the free throw line he's shooting, which is ridiculous, 87%. Now, for a small forward to shoot that good from the free throw line is beyond ridiculous. This guy has improved so much on both ends of the court. He is the second best player in the world. We all know this. But in my personal opinion, I think Kevin Durant is going to win the Most Valuable Player award. Now, why do I give it over James Harden? Now, first, let's understand what's going on with James Harden. He's averaging 28 points per game, 8 rebounds, 11.5 assists, 1 steal, sadly, 6 turnovers. He's shooting 44% from the field, 34% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. So just from a face value, you see that he is not as efficient as Kevin Durant, and he turns the ball over way more. Now let's look at what Kevin Durant does on the floor. Kevin Durant has become an elite defender. James Harden is not. He simply isn't, which is sad because if he were, he would be a top player. Possibly, he already is, a top player. But he could be up there with, Kevin Durant. But unfortunately, he's just not a great defender, man. And if you look at it, his efficiency, he's shooting 44% from the field. That's 10% less than Kevin Durant. And now when you look at their win-loss ratios, The Houston Rockets are 36-16 compared to the Golden State Warriors 41-7. Now I know the Golden State Warriors have Stephen Curry, KD, Clay, and Dre all on the same team, and Zaza for 5 All-Stars all on the same team, which is ridiculous because Zaza isn't an All-Star. But you get my point. You know, they have a whole bunch of star players on this team, so we understand they're gonna have a better record. However, if you go down the line, the Houston Rockets are probably going to lose around 25, maybe 30 games this season. You know, they're probably going to, maybe not, maybe around 25 to 27 losses. You know, compared to Golden State's, what, 12, 13? You know, so in terms of that, it's ridiculous. The gap between the Warriors and the rest of the league is amazing. And if you look at the Warriors, they're an even improved team defensively. I think they're leading in block shots, steals, opponent field goal percentage. You know, their offense is top tier. I mean, this team is just off the charts, and it's all because Kevin Durant came to this team. They weren't this good last year. I know they had a better record, but again, record doesn't really mean anything. They're way better this year, and that's because of Kevin Durant. And that just goes to show you why Kevin Durant deserves the Most Valuable Player award. Now, if we were realistic and we know, if we really go by the definition, obviously LeBron James should win the MVP every single damn year. You guys know how I feel about that. However, at this point in time, Kevin Durant is going to be the 2017 NBA Most Valuable Player. This is going to be his second MVP, and I'm excited to see, you know, how he is going to react. Because if you look at Stephen Curry, he took a really, really big leap in terms of, not a leap, but he sacrificed a lot, sort of like what Dwyane Wade did. Because if you think about it, Stephen Curry went from talked about every single night to, who the hell is he? You know, I mean, he still gets media attention and hype like crazy, but not compared to the last 2 years, especially last season. Last season, you couldn't even turn on the news without hearing about Stephen Curry. If I were watching Nickelodeon or SpongeBob, there would be breaking news. Stephen Curry drops 50 points and hits a game winner from half court against the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, it's crazy like that. You know, so honestly, I mean, to be honest, Stephen Curry sacrificed a lot, and I'm glad he did, because he's not to the level of Kevin Durant. He's not. And you know what I can't wait to see in the finals? LeBron James versus Kevin Durant. It's going to be so epic, because it is no longer, you know, a Kevin Durant early into his prime. This is Kevin Durant a few years into his prime. Him and his team choked a 3-1 lead last year. I want to see what Kevin Durant's going to do. These two players are going to go at it. I mean, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. And KD better guard LeBron, and LeBron vice versa. You better guard Kevin Durant, because if you don't, it's not going to be as entertaining. Now, we know Kyrie and Curry, they're not going to guard each other because they're just offensive players. And Curry's a playmaker. I can't sit there and lie about that, you know. But I can't wait to see these two teams go at it. It's going to be so freaking fun to watch. To see my man Kevin Durant dropping 40, to see my man LeBron dropping 40 with a triple-double, you know, dunking on people. Kevin Durant dunking on people. It's going to be crazy, man. You know, so anyway, back to the MVP talk. You know, when you bring all of these things together, I honestly think Kevin Durant is going to win the MVP. And I would love to hear what you guys think about this, because a lot of people are still saying, oh, Russell Westbrook's going to win. And I told you guys he's not going to win. He stands no chance to win. And the simple reason for that is because, one, his team's not going to have a good enough record. I mean, I know what he's doing is great, but his team's not going to have a good enough record. And even if his team, let's say we're a third or fourth seed, and let's say they were 52-30, you know, compared to the Warriors 67-15 and the Spurs, I don't know, 55-27. Right? Let's do that. Let's compare that to that. So let's look at Kevin Durant, and then let's look at Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard this season, on 33 minutes per game, on 17 shots per game, he's averaging 26 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block, while shooting 49% from the field, 41% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line. That is incredible. Oh, let's talk about turnovers. Only 2 turnovers per game. Now let's look at Kevin Durant again. And then we're also going to look at Stephen Curry. KD, 26, 8, 5, 1, 2. 2 turnovers, 55% from the field, 39% from 3, and 87% from the free throw line. Stephen Curry, since we're talking about the Western Conference, 25 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers. However, on 33 minutes per game, on 17 shots, 47% from the field, 41% from 3, and 92% from the free throw line. So if you compare that to Russell Westbrook, who is averaging 30, 10, and 10, he's not going to finish with a triple-double. First of all, for some reason, this is weird. It's reversed. I thought his assists would be higher than his rebounds, but his rebounds are 10.6, and his assists are 10.3. Either way, he's not going to average a triple-double or a double-double. It's just not going to happen. You know, as much as I would love for him to, because I love watching him play, he's amazing, it's just not going to happen. You know, and then you look at, you know, Russell Westbrook's efficiency, 42% from the field, 33% from 3, and 82% from the field, from the free throw line, with 6 turnovers per game. Now compare that to, and people bring up this excuse that, oh, in LeBron's people bring up this excuse that Russell Westbrook is the only one on the team that can score. Okay, well, what about in LeBron's prime when LeBron was, you know, doing his thing in Cleveland in the early years in Cleveland? Or what about when, you know, let's see, Chris Paul. Chris Paul has only had one season where he's averaged over 3 turnovers per game, and this dude is as ball dominant as it comes. You know, so to me, there's no excuse for how much Russell Westbrook turns the ball over. He's just too reckless at times. And you guys know how I feel about him. At one point in time, I thought he was the 3rd best player in the world. I still think he's around top 6, depending on if you want to put Kawhi, Harden, Curry, or Russ. You know, it's so hard. But anyway, man, you know, so I just don't see Russell Westbrook winning it. I think Kevin Durant's going to get it just because of his efficiency, his team, and all of the factors and everything, especially this Basketball Reference coming out with this 34% chance for James Harden and 32% chance for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant started the season with a 2% chance, so that gap raised. So I'm very, very excited to see how he can turn this around because I really think he can. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been Steve, and guess what? I'm out. Peace.